Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the internal capsule. The internal capsule is a white matter tract structure that contains nerve fiber bundles passing through it. The main structure surrounding the internal capsule is basal ganglia. This is a group of gray matter nuclei. Sometimes it is called as the basal nuclei that have various connection with midbrain and diencephalon. Its main function is motor output. The basal ganglia include caudate nucleus superiorly. The globus pallidus locate most medial from the lateral sulcus and pentamen. The globus pallidus and the pentamen are after grouped together as lentiform nucleus. The internal capsule has an angular or pyramidal in shape. It is divided or it is mainly divided into three main parts: anterior limb and central genu and a posterior limb. The specific part of internal capsule contain particular nerve fibers. The white matter tracks projects through the internal capsule that originate from the cortex. This kind of fibers it is called as the corona radiator. These fibers carrying motor informations and that can be related to specific part of the body based on origin of the cortex that is represented by motor homunculus. The anterior limb of internal capsules receives fibers from the prefrontal cortex. These are mainly anterior thalamic radiations. The genu contain cortical nuclear tract and geniculate fibers that originating from the motor cortex also contain cortical bulbar tract which carries motor nerve fibers from the motor cortex to the cranial nerve nuclei which control the muscles of head and face. The posterior limb contain corticospinal tract fibers. The sublenticular component of internal capsules receive auditory functions and the retrolenticular portion has received visual functions. Fibers of internal capsule. The fibers that project from the cerebral cortex to the various nuclei of the extrapyramidal system. It's a continuous sheet of fibers that forms the medial boundary of the lenticular nucleus. It continues around posteriorly and inferiorly to partially envelop the nucleus. Inferiorly, many of the fibers of internal capsule funnel in the cerebral peduncle. Superiorly, the fibers fan out into the corona radiata. Here, the fibers travels in the cerebral white matter to reach their cortical origin or destination. Now we are going to discuss about the blood supply of internal capsule. The internal capsule receives oxygenated blood through the internal carotid artery. It is a branch of common carotid artery. The common carotid artery it is bifurcated into two: internal carotid artery and external carotid artery. The internal carotid artery, which again divides into anterior cerebral artery and the middle cerebral artery, which is in the middle cranial fossa. The branches of middle cerebral artery which supplies the frontal, parietal and temporal lobes of brain. The middle cerebral artery can be spread into forming some sections. They are M1, M2, M3 and M4. The M1 is horizontal section which reaches from the internal carotid artery to the lateral fissure. M2 is the insular portion of middle cerebral artery. M3 reaches the top of the lateral fissure to the cerebral cortex. M4 completely cortical that supplying the surface of cerebral cortex. The lenticulostriate arteries its branches from the M1 segment of middle cerebral artery. These arteries are a small branches ascending to and supplies internal capsule, particularly the forming the striatum. These are some features of internal capsule and its blood supply. Thank you.